Outdoor hockey is in the air, so gather around as we get to preview the gymnastics squad. The shots are falling from downtown. We are all in the mood to celebrate. Red always does. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Spro. We're in the midst of it, Joe. There's lots going on.
Absolutely. A lot of stuff to talk about. We've got a fair amount of highlights. We did get to meet with the gymnastics team, so we'll have their preview. Exchanged some emails with the Nordic team. They said, I don't know what to tell you, but we're practicing at 6 in the morning on Fridays because it's the only time they can get on snow over at Elm Creek. And I don't know how long that snow is going to last because even though it's groomed, they've made their trails, they've groomed it. The benefit is the ground underneath is cold enough to keep the snow there despite the weather. But they're talking about weather close to 50 degrees this weekend and snow and rain.
Nothing in sight as
all
far as
weekend.
snow.
So hopefully we will be able to meet up with them sometime after the first of the year. As of right now, the Northwest Suburban Conference website still listing that their first meet will happen on Thursday.
I don't think so.
I just don't think that'll happen unless they're going to run it as a cross-country meet instead. But we start where we always do with the boys hockey team. Tough time for the boys hockey team. On Thursday, they met up against Maple Grove, and Crimson are off to a great start this season, and they handled the Cardinals pretty handily. 7-0 the final. You see the shots on goal, 40-16. Will Wagner did everything he could to keep them in that game, but in the end, time ticked away on them, and they lose, falling to 4-2. On Saturday, both hockey teams hosted a special event, Hockey Day Coon Rapids. It featured doubleheaders of both JV and varsity teams, and it was all on the CTN outdoor rink. The finale featured the boys hosting the Anoka Tornadoes. Anoka came in at 0-6, and they had been shut out in 4 of those 6 games. The Cardinals made sure to keep that streak intact. Cardinals fired up to bounce back after that loss to Maple Grove, and they controlled the game from the opening puck drop. They start the scoring midway through the first. Ben Kish netting his first of the season, and it turned out to be a game winner. Cards handed the lead midway through the second. Eli Bowden racing down the right wing and ripping a wrister far side off the post and in. That made it 2-0. And they really open it up late in the period. Dylan Bushy jumps on that pass, walks in, and beats the keeper 5-hole. His first career goal put the game firmly in Cardinal control. It also sparked a rally for the offense. Cards attacking 3-on-2. First shot is going to be stopped, but Bowden is there to poke the rebound home, make it a 4-goal lead. And they add another just 22 seconds later. Again on the rush, Kish feeds Trenton Tyson. He hits the post, but is able to get his own rebound, come across to slide the backhander home. 5-0 Cards after 2. They add one more in the third period. Caden Alphin getting to the slot and going back to the short side for his 5th of the season. That made it 6-0 and put the game into running time. Cards' third running time shutout win of the season.
It was a lot of fun, and the guys I thought played really, really well, and obviously against an opponent that they should handle. The Anoka, I think, had just scored 6 goals in 6 games coming into that contest,
and they were giving up almost 6 goals a game.
Yeah, and so it was obviously a one for the Cards to win. It was a lot of fun. I liked the fact that Thiessen got a goal later because he hit the pipe a couple of times earlier in the game.
I was going to say something about that. I mean, he was all over the ice. He had a great game, but he had a couple of posts. Another one, I think the goalie made like a toe save on. So he did finally get it. And it came after yet another post. But it's great to see, not only because he finally got the payoff for it, but to see those second and third lines contributing a little more is huge. It's amazing the diversity you have in the Northwest Suburban when you look at the difference in power between a Maple Grove and an Anoka. But it means for the Cardinals who want to be in that upper group at the end of the season, they have to take care of business against those lower level teams, and so far they have.
Yeah, and they have, and they look like the team that can be in that upper level of competition by the end of the year.
Another big test for them coming up on Thursday. They host Duluth East. The Greyhounds down a little bit so far to start the season, but that's still the team that knocked them out of the section semifinals last year. So the Cardinals will have a little payback in mind. Then they're off until after the first of the year, and they will travel to take on Osseo on Thursday the 4th.
Plus, we'll be there on Thursday. So,
we will be there.
So that'll be fun. Well, the girls' hockey team is in the midst of a crucial part of its schedule, including a couple of big home games last week. On Tuesday, the Bluebirds hosted conference and section rival Osseo Park Center. The OPC squad was sitting just below 500, but coming off their biggest offensive output of the year, a 9-goal effort against visitation. The Bluebirds would prove they're a much tougher opponent. CPCR controls the game from the start, but they don't start scoring until a power play late in the first. Tessa Bowden on the doorstep, able to slip the backhander through the 5-hole. The Bluebirds take a 1-0 lead after 1. Bowden strikes again early in the second. Great cross-ice pass to get it to her. Then call her Miss Bowden Dangles, just undressing the defender and keeper and sliding it home for a 2-goal lead. OPC cut the lead to 1 early in the third, but the Bluebirds answered just a minute later. Kyla Keating first shot is stopped, and she jumps on the rebound, nets her 4th of the season, 3-1 home team. They add 1 more on the power play. Sydney Bernovic on the rush. Strong wrist shot. You're going to see coming up here. Strong wrist shot is stopped, but she jams the rebound home. As you can see coming up here, and that's going to complete the scoring as the Bluebirds win 4-1. They outshot OPC by a 53-10 margin.
Well, on Saturday, the Bluebirds welcomed Elk River to Crick's Outdoor Rink for Hockey Day Coon Rapids. This was a big matchup against a conference opponent. Bluebirds were coming off back-to-back wins, while the Elks had lost their last 2. When the buzzer sounded, both of those streaks grew longer. Bluebirds controlled the first period, but no scoring until the opening draw of the second. June Semling gets it to Lily McKenzie. She's got an open look and buries a wrist shot to get CPCR on the board. The Elks are able to answer midway through the period. Tony Alm with a wrist shot. Wastrel leaves a big rebound, and Bella Dahl jumps on it, scoring just inside the post to even the game at a goal apiece. Stays that way until late in the second when the Bluebirds' pressure pays off. Bernavic's shot is well wide, but June Semling able to recover. Her shot is stopped. Bernavic there to poke the rebound home. Her 10th goal of the season sparked a rally for the home team. Tessa Bowden circling, leaving it for Nola Milton. Her shot is going to be stopped, but the rebound gets behind the keeper, and Caitlin Easton is able to sweep it into the net and give CPCR a 2-goal lead. They add another less than 20 seconds later. Bowden getting in on the breakaway. Great move, lets her put it into a wide-open net. Gives the Bluebirds a 4-1 lead going to the third. They had 1 more in the final frame. Callie Alphin weaving her way into the zone and then fires a laser far side top shelf. Bluebirds cruise to a 5-1 win, improving to 7-2 on the season. And
again, strong play by the Bluebirds, and they really showed that they're a dominant team, what they can do. I mean, Elk River is middle of the pack pretty much, but the Bluebirds played pretty well. Yeah, it was really good to see. And it's the same situation. They need to not only beat those teams below them, but control the game, which they did. They did. This game could have been even more wide open. Really, I was kind of surprised. Elk River changed their goalies, and I get it. It's an outdoor game. Yep. You want all of your kids to experience this, but it's also a conference game. But they split that game in half. Their starting goalie gave up just 1 goal, and Cardinals were able to get to the backup. It's tough to come in cold. Especially at an outdoor rink, although it wasn't cold at all. The weather was pretty nice. It was gorgeous out, but and then they just brought the pressure, and eventually it paid off. The goalie who played the second half actually came into the game with the better numbers, but she did not have as good an outing as the girl who had started. So I don't know that it would have changed the outcome. Probably not. But maybe they would have kept it closer. Big game for them coming up against a section opponent on Tuesday. They will host North Wright County, and Howie will be there. And then the biggest challenge of their regular season, perhaps, on Saturday, they travel to take on number 1 ranked Minnetonka. Wrestling team was at Park Center on Friday for a tri-meet with both Park Center and Totino Grace. The Eagles, the defending conference champions, handed the Cardinals a 48-21 loss. And then the Cardinals were actually trailing Park Center, but then got a pin from Tristan Hargrave and scored 6 straight pins in the last 6 weight classes. Wow. To score the 49-21 victory over the Pirates. Alex Zhang
Carter Skradsky and Cam Ross were all 2-0 on the evening. Alex Zhang recording a couple of pins in his 2 matches. On Saturday, Friday and Saturday, they were down in Rochester for the Matt Boss Minnesota Christmas Tournament, and they did all right. 30th place out of 40 teams. They had a couple of weight classes they did not put guys in, but they were able to get 3 guys to place. Jack Bridenstine finished in 7th place. Carter Skradsky was in 9th place, and Hayden Skillings also, or was he in 8th place?
It was 8th.
8th place, yeah. And Bridenstine actually was 11th place. Yeah. But he was 4-3 with a pin and a major decision. Skradsky had 4 pins on the day. Alex Zhang and Cam Ross both 1 for 2 in their weight classes.
Well, Skradsky going 5-2 is pretty impressive as well.
Well, and they've got a little bit of time off. They will not compete this weekend or this week. They will be at the Eau Claire Memorial Tournament next weekend, and then back to dual meet schedule on Friday the 5th when they host Champlain Park in Andover. Also want to mention the JV team. I don't remember where they were. Forgive me for that. Girls were at a tournament in Hopkins and apparently did very well according to the email that I got from Coach Tronson, including Maya Ruddy getting a tournament championship.
Nice,
love that. Place.
Love that.
So great to hear. That's their second tournament of the season and things going well there. Gymnastics team. After starting off against one of the best teams in the state in Anoka, they had a tri-meet last Saturday against Centennial and also Andover and Blaine, and a huge improvement. They scored a 104 in their opening meet. They score a 111 in meet number 2. Callie Barker was their leading finisher in all 4 events, finished 5th place in the all-around, just below 30 points. Callie Rombach and Angel Marshall also competed very well. Angel Marshall finishing just behind Callie Barker in the all-around, finishing in 6th place in the all-around.
Well, the season is really off to a great start for the gymnastics team, especially considering where they started. They only had 7 girls sign up initially, but the Cardinals recruited enough to fill a roster, and now they're in great position to continue to grow the program.
It's great, and a credit to them because they worked hard at it. Like we were at 12, and then we were at 14, and now, hey, we got 17 now, so it's great.
The recruiting efforts really paid off. Not only did the Cardinals get enough girls to fill both varsity and JV rosters, the girls that joined are learning quickly and moving the team in the right direction.
We have a great team this year. I feel like a lot of them are new, but they have like the energy and spark and learning really quickly. I think we've already improved so much in this first month of practice.
The Cardinals opened their schedule against an Anoka team that is among the best in the state. But this young squad wasn't intimidated. They just went out and gave it their all.
It was as expected for me and for everybody. There were lots of mistakes, obviously, but overall, I think it was a good first meet, especially it was a lot of the girls' first time competing, so I think we did pretty good for our first meet of the season. I'd say be confident. A lot of them were super nervous, which is like, okay, like it's their first meet. I just told them to be confident. You got it. It's your first routine. Like, this is your starting point. From here on out, it'll just keep getting better, and it really just showed how much potential they really do have. They did really good.
Getting past those opening day jitters didn't take long. In just their second meet of the year, the Cardinals equaled their best score from last season, and they hope that that growth will continue for years to come.
That's what I'm looking for the most. We want them to have fun being part of this team, and we want them to represent Coon Rapids High School well by being part of this team. So we're looking forward to just their development. We have seen so much growth from the first day of practice to now. It's amazing.
There is still much work to be done and much more they feel they can accomplish. But it all starts with having a great group leading the way.
Those varsity girls have really shown leadership to the younger kids, and that's what you want. You want those varsity girls to really step up.
Being really supportive. When somebody isn't getting a skill that they want or they're having a rough day at practice or meets, just cheer them on and let them know that it's just a bad day.
The Cardinals aren't setting their expectations too high. They know they're young and will be the underdog most nights, but winning isn't their ultimate goal.
Meeting all these new people, just connecting with bonds, getting closer to everyone, A lot of these girls are really cool and unique in their own ways, and it's just really nice getting to know them. And then you feel like a family.
While they're not too concerned about wins and losses, they do want to see everyone improve from start to finish. And seeing that progress will be their true measure for success.
I look forward to seeing where everyone goes. Already we've seen so much improvement, so I'm just really excited to see how we all end up.
Yeah, it was fun to get over there and talk with the girls. And I got to say, some of them made me laugh. They're like, it's really not that scary. You're just throwing a handspring on a beam. And I'm like, really? Because that's about the most scary thing you could
for
tell
me too, the parallel. I mean, or, the high bars, it's like I couldn't do it.
The uneven bars? Uneven. Yeah. I wouldn't do any of it. I'll be on the floor.
Yeah. Well, you could do the floor exercise.
You could somersault.
Yeah, you could do a somersault.
Maybe a jump.
Cartwheel.
No cartwheels. I think I've passed that point in my life. We don't need. No one wants to see that. But it was good. It's great to see that they're getting more girls out. It sounds like all of the girls who they did get out. Some had a little bit of gymnastics experience, but everybody's coming along so far, so quickly. And Coach Habel was gushing about the team, their effort, everything, the way they are in the practice room and how they support each other on during the meets. And she just went on and on about how they're supporting each other and how they're getting great support from the school community as a whole.
I feel like this year has a really different feel. We're more cohesive than we've ever been. We just have a lot of really good things happening. And I think that that's important, and hats off to our new athletic director, Jeff Thompson, for the help, John Pena, and of course Curtis Walrath, those guys who have just kind of paved the way and are so supportive of our program. So as the head coach, I just appreciate those guys so much, and I want them to know that. And I appreciate CTN, even though I cannot stand doing this terrible interview over here. You guys do a great job, and we appreciate you, because how lucky are we to have this for our kids, for our student athletes.
Okay, maybe it was a little self-serving to run that, but it was a very nice sentiment, and she says it every year about that how much support they get from the school administration,
which is great.
And yeah, and she complains as several coaches do that don't
like to
really
do the interview.
Like to do the interview, but she did a great job, and I thought that the thanks and for the support that she wanted to express more to the school administration than to us. But every once in a while we like to pat ourselves on the back as well.
We really do. But I'm sure it went well. You were there to put her at ease and kind of guide her through. So she did a nice job.
I've done one or two of those.
Just one or two.
So the girls are at Park Center tomorrow, and then they will be off until Thursday the 4th when they're at Osseo. Champlin Park will also be there for that one for a tri-meet. Swimming and diving team had its first dual meet last week against Andover, and it was a close one against the Dogs. Cardinals come up short 94-87, but look at all those first place finishes. They get a first place finish in the medley relay. Nolan Schultz was first place in the 50 and 100 freestyles. Ling was first place in the 100 butterfly and the 500 freestyle, and Mitch Tronson was first place in the 100 backstroke. On Saturday, they were back home for the Bengal Invite. They only had, I think she said, 13 athletes in this. So they were one of the smallest teams there. I think there were 9 total teams. They finished 4th. They had like 10 or 12 top 8 finishes, despite only having 13 kids competing. So a fantastic way for them to represent the school and the team. There you see some of the top finishes. Don't quote me, I think it's Jackson Ling, but it could be Jordan. Either way, Ling had some of the top finishes. He was 3rd place in the 100 butterfly, 4th place in the 200 freestyle. Nolan Schultz, 4th place in the 100 free. Mitch Tronson, 4th place in the 500 free, and 5th place in the 200 IM. Egerstrom was 6th place in the 50 free, with Butel not far behind in 8th, and the 200 freestyle relay team was in 4th place overall. So a fantastic start. And another, I get emails from coaches. Haley Scholl in her first season, just absolutely gushing about how well they are doing in those first couple of meets. And she said that all of the other coaches were really impressed with how they did on Saturday. Considering how small a team they had, they were still able to put up great numbers and outscore a number of teams that were there that had twice as many athletes in the pool.
Yeah, that's great to see, especially, and the fact that they took fourth place with only 13 swimmers in the water, that's phenomenal. Love the effort, love the outcome for that.
Yeah, the Cardinals will be at Anoka on Thursday, and then they are at Champlain Park next Thursday. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Nordic ski team they may be the only ones in Minnesota absolutely hating the weather thus far, but they have to be. I mean, it's obviously it's their sport, it's their passion.
They rely
on it.
And
they're just not allowed to do it thanks to Mother Nature. This does happen every once in a while. As of right now, Northwest Suburban Conference website says they will have that meet on Thursday. The weather says it's going to be in the 40s again, mid 40s by Thursday and Friday. So we'll knock on wood for them. We hope they can get some competition in before the new year. But hopefully, eventually, Minnesota winter will come at least to some extent.
It's inevitable. It's going to come eventually, but just who knows when.
Unfortunately, it'll come in like March, and then their season will already be over.
Great.
But
let's hope not.
They are scheduled to be at Elm Creek on Thursday the 4th, and as I mentioned, we hope to meet up with them sometime after the first of the year. I did also check the websites for both Wild Mountain and Trollhagen, and they do say that more than half of their runs are open, so they do have snow. As of right now, the Alpine ski team will have its first race at Trollhagen on Tuesday, and then they're off until after the first of the year. Their second race will be at Wild Mountain on Thursday the 4th. So they're a little more fortunate.
Yep.
They make snow.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, the warm temperatures and any rain will definitely affect that snow and make it harder to race on.
Make it ice.
So yeah, you don't want to be racing downhill on ice.
Nope.
Boys basketball team had a really fun one on Tuesday night. They hosted Hastings, and this one went to overtime. The Cardinals getting a 90-88 win. Look at the numbers for Jerry Freeman. 32 points and 14 boards.
It's amazing.
Jackson Young added 17 points. Ray Bennett had a dozen. Jackson Hetwer had 11. And Connor Jordan had 8 points and 6 assists. Well, the Cardinals were back on their home court on Friday, but facing a much more difficult opponent. The Totino Grace Eagles are the two-time defending state champions in Class 3A, and they were off to a 3-1 start. Their only loss was by 2 points to top-ranked Wayzata. Cardinals would certainly have their hands full trying to keep pace with the mighty Eagles. Cardinals down early, trying to keep it from getting out of hand. Jackson Hetwer finds some room, hits a long-distance three from the left wing. But the Eagles just keep coming, bringing the pressure in transition. Chase Watley drops it back for Isaiah Johnson-Arrigo. He takes it up and stuffs it home. Plus the foul, Johnson-Arrigo led all scorers with 22 points. Their defense is stifling as well. The Cardinals try to battle through. Great move in the lane for Jason Russ. He was one of two players with a team-high 9 points. But this one was out of reach early. Defense turning to offense for the Eagles. Numbers down low. And Dothan Jedimobila flies in for a two-handed jam. Home team highlights were few and far between. Russ again getting to the rim and getting the bucket plus the bump. But the Tino is just too much. Bennett blocked in the lane. The Eagles get up court quickly. Johnson-Arrigo with the windmill jam. Eagles up 48-26 at the half on their way to a 90-43 win.
Yikes. Looks like one of your old windmill jams.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, Totino's
maybe on a 6-foot rim.
Yeah, Totino is amazing, obviously.
They're very good.
I think they have two players in the top 10 in the state, so they're going to dominate most games. And it was a tough one, obviously, for the Cardinals.
They're a 3A team. They're ranked number one in 3A. They've won the state tournament two years in a row at 3A. They're also ranked, I think, number 6 or 7 in the Metro against 4A teams.
Right.
And again, their only loss so far by 2 points to number one Wayzata.
I think they just lost. I think I saw Saturday they lost to a team from Nebraska. No,
That's possible.
So I think
Up
so.
until that point.
Up until that point,
Their
yeah.
only loss was to Wayzata,
No,
who was number one in this.
They're going to win a lot more than they're going to lose, quite obviously.
The good news is the Cardinals bounced back with a win over section opponent Cambridge Isani on Saturday. They went up there, beat the Blue Jackets 82-60. Jackson Young leading the way with 26 points. Jason Rust added 16. Jackson Hetwer had 14. Jerry Freeman had 9, and Connor Jordan added 7. They got another big section matchup coming up on the road this week. They're at St. Cloud Apollo on Tuesday, and then they're at Forest Lake on Friday. And that rivalry with the Rangers has been a really good one for the last number of years.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of good contests between those two teams, and I'm sure this one will be good as well.
I'm sure.
Well, the girls basketball team entered last week at 2-1, but still looking for their first win against a conference opponent. They thought they had a good chance to get that win on Tuesday when they hosted a winless Park Center squad. The Pirates are 0-4, but a couple of those games were against top-level competition, and they were fired up to the end to end their season opening slide. Cardinals defense swarming early, helping them take a lead. Kaylee Bierman on the floor to get the steal. Gets it to Helen Ben. Kaylin Green finishes all alone underneath. And they keep that intensity going. Green immediately on defense, getting the steal. She takes it to the rim, but comes up short. Bierman there for the finish. Cardinals up 9-2 early. We're still in the first. Helen Ben on the run. Spins to the paint. Gets the jump shot to go. Cards up 24-18 at that point. The Park Center cut that lead to 3 at the half. And the Pirates were able to keep the momentum into the second. Long three-pointer for Jayla Diggs. That put the visitors up 36-31. And their offense really starts clicking. Diggs again, this time backing up on the right wing for hitting another three. Drops it there, and the Pirates hold the lead the rest of the way. They don't pull away until the very end. Anya Shaffa driving the left side, gets the bucket and the foul. Park Center scores its first win of the year. 77-60 was the final score over the Cardinals.
Yeah, and that might have been a little bit of a tough one to swallow. You know, coming in, you got a winless team, and I know Helen Ben was fired up to play against her former team.
Did not want to lose that game.
But unfortunately, things didn't go their way, especially at the end of the second half. And of their two contests last week, that one far more winnable. Delano is the #1 team in 3A in Minnesota right now, and they handed the Cardinals a very lopsided 85-48 loss on Thursday. Helen Ben led the way with 17 points, 5 boards. Casey Beck had a dozen. Smith had 9. Gaskins had 5, and Kaylin Green held to just 3 points in that game. But as it is with all sports and all seasons, it's a series of ups and downs. How do you bounce back from losses? We will see how the Cardinals handle it. They are at Blaine on Thursday, and then they're off through the holidays, and we'll have head up to Duluth the 28th and 29th for a tournament at Duluth East.
That should be a fun tournament for them.
Well, it should be a fun week here on CTN. We've got a couple of big hockey games. Tuesday night, it's the girls team hosting North Wright County. Big section rivalries both Tuesday and Thursday. On Thursday, boys hosting the Duluth East Greyhounds. And then on the 28th, Cardinals will face the Bluebirds rather, will face that same Elk River team they just beat on Hockey Day to open the Kaposia Classic over in St. Paul. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. We'll be off for a couple of weeks. We'll rejoin you sometime after the first of the year. I wish everyone a very happy holiday and a safe and happy new year. For all of us, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young. Say good night.